Morning to this Warsaw Business Forum. I see a lot of energy and enthusiasm in the crowd. Let us try to focus this energy and enthusiasm now into the actual part of our business. We are going to talk something serious. Before that, I would like to give a very brief introduction of myself, because I am for the first time coming to Warsaw and many people here do not recognize me. I have been working in Vision for more than 6 years now. I am the director of logistics, which includes all the products, the production, relationship with all suppliers. I'm also the director for new product development, which again includes relationship with all suppliers of new products, old products. At the same time, I'm also the regional director for Asia and Middle East, which includes today the country of Vietnam and Egypt. So coming from this background in Vision, I was born in India, finished my education in England. I am an engineer by graduation and then completed my management MBA. Finished my education in Oxford University in England, and then worked in various countries before coming to Vision. The business is getting complicated day by day. It is not easy to work as more and more companies in the MLM sphere start every day. Every day, every week, every month, you see some new company set up its business in MLM. These companies, most of them, do not live for long. Some of them fold up or finish their business in 1 year, 2 years, or even earlier. But during the very small time in which they exist, they create problems for you, for your network. Because they try to get hold of your network, break the network, take some distributors and so on. We are going to talk today about not something abstract, but something real. I am trying to give you today some tools which will help you not only to retain the network you have, but also in the recruitment process of the new people, of the new distributors who are added to your network. Again, as I said, we are going to talk about quality. It is a technical topic. It is a highly technical topic. But what I will try to do is we will try to do it in simple language so that you can understand it and convey it further to your network. And we will do with a lot of examples so that it becomes, let us say, a non-technical understanding for you. The presentation, the topic of my presentation is the quality differentiator. We will be talking about quality, how the Vision products are different as regards the quality. So my presentation is divided into various parts. We will be talking about quality. Then we will be coming to the theoretical part of GMP. What is GMP? How it works? Then we will compare the various systems, the American system of quality, the European system of quality, which is better, how it is better. And then finally we will come to the part how all these things which we look at technically, how they affect the Vision product. And finally, what I want to give you today is the last slide. Some tools, some questions, 7 questions, which you should write, learn, commit to your memory, take back, and give it to your network. This is something which is going to be the real purpose of my presentation. Let us start. We start with something very basic. Very basic in the sense, what is quality? There are thousands of definitions of quality. But what we are looking at is one of the definitions of quality, which is as per the ISO, International Standard Organization definition, which says that quality is the degree to which a set of inherent characteristics fulfill the requirement. Anything you buy, any product you buy, is bought to fulfill some requirement. If you buy a bottle of water because you are thirsty, so the bottle of water has to fulfill the requirement that it should take care of your thirst. If you buy a shoe, it should protect your feet, it should help you in walk, and it should be comfortable. So, as per ISO, quality is something which fulfills your requirement. It is a product which fulfills your requirement. It has various characteristics. One characteristic is, or the first characteristic, that it is customer focused. It is focused on the end user. That is, how well my requirements are fulfilled. For example, I buy a shoe so that I can wear it, I can walk it, it is comfortable. If it is good looking, if it is comfortable, if it works for 1 year, 2 years, then it fulfills my requirements. But if it does not, if it is not comfortable, if it does not look good or whatever, then it is not fulfilling my requirement. And from a customer point of view, it is not a good quality for me. Another characteristic is that quality can mean various things to various people. For some person, this shoe might be very good quality, but for other person, it might not be very good quality. This hall, for some people, it is a wonderful hall, good lighting, good sound system, good air conditioning, good furniture. But for others, it might be so-so, and for others, it might be not at all good quality. So quality is highly subjective. It depends upon how each person values quality or values what the hall has to offer. Another important characteristic is that quality is always related to the price of the product. If you want high quality, the more higher the quality, the price of the product will keep on increasing. It is possible to manufacture any quality. You can have a car which can be produced in the factory of Airbus with that high quality standards, but then it is going to cost you a lot. So quality always has a price attached to it. Another characteristic is that many times people misunderstand that quality means if something looks good, if something looks elegant to the eye, people think it is good quality. But many times it is not so. Something which looks good may be quality good, maybe not very good quality. So we have to take great care in selecting whatever products we use and the company which produces these products. So one has to be very careful in this selection. Now, how do we do that? This is something which we will come to. There is a slide which people who were in Moscow might have seen this earlier. There are two sets of cars in this slide. One is at the top, and then it is the same car at the bottom. Can someone tell me which car is at number 1? I have hidden the logo, but can someone try to recognize which car is at number 1? Mercedes. Yes, most of the hall says the first is Mercedes. Let us now look at number 2. Any idea which car this might be? BMW. Everyone agrees? Someone says BMW? Yes, this is BMW. I think maybe X3 or X5. Most probably it is X5. Now these are very good cars. One is a Mercedes, another is BMW, German cars, very good quality, good price. But please have a look what is happening. But now let us look at the reality. Sorry, this is not working.
That's just
Hello? Okay, sorry for the delay. Sorry. Okay, but it is not true. The real thing is, one of them is a Chinese-made copy of the BMW X5. It is called Shuanghuan CEO. The model name is Shuanghuan CEO. It is one of the best-selling cars made in China, which is an exact copy of the BMW X5. And similarly, the other Mercedes which we saw is not a Mercedes. It is again a Chinese copy of the Mercedes, which is manufactured by the company BYD, and it is called Model F8. Now these two things are clear examples that something which looks good, which looks elegant, may not be quality. Quality has a price, and this makes it clear how much one has to be careful in selecting the product as well as the company. There are thousands of iPhones made in China available for maybe $50, $60. The price is very low, but when you buy this copy iPhone, this is not the exact thing. This is something which is entirely different. So, great care has to be taken in selecting the product as well as the company. How we do this, I will tell you now. You deal, or the company Vision deals in food supplements, which is biologically active food supplements. Our products are made in our factories in France and in Ireland. But there are a lot of food supplement manufacturers who also claim to sell the same food supplements as we do. But the question is, how do you compare all these products? We have a product, let us say Antiox or a Detox, which is used for antioxidation or for detoxification. Many other companies have same range or more or less similar products. How do you compare? We will look at some parameters which will help us to compare all these products and see how they compare as far as the quality is concerned. After this very brief introduction of quality, we come to the slightly more technical part, which is GMP. We will look at GMP, how it works, what is it, and so on. I start with a very small example. You go out to a restaurant to eat. Where would you like to eat? There is a restaurant which serves you food in dirty dishes, and there is another restaurant which serves you food in very clean dishes. Now obviously, this is no question. Everyone would like that the food be served in clean dishes, the kitchen where the food is prepared is clean, and the whole atmosphere where the food is being stored is also clean. But if we look at the dishes in detail, a dish which looks clean, it might look very clean from the outside, but if you do an analysis, a molecular analysis or a microscopic analysis of this dish, you might see millions and millions of bacteria on the dish. Because the reason is, you don't know the background of this dish or the food. We do not know, for example, is the kitchen in which the food was prepared, is it clean? The cook which cooked the food, did he wash his hands? The place where the food was stored, was it clean? Was it at the temperature which is required? When the meat was prepared in the plant, was it a proper plant? The dishes, were they washed in clean water or in dirty water? And so on. We do not know the background of anything. So that means the whole thing is highly subjective. Something which can appear very good quality, nice and clean, may actually not be so. So this again brings us to the earlier question which we had. We have to exert great caution and care in selection of the product and in selection of the manufacturer. Because we need to know the background of everything. So, as I said, the quality is subjective. Some person may wash the dish about which we were talking in a clean water, some may wash in a dirty water, some may wash with soap, others may not wash with soap, and so on. So to reduce this subjectivity in food manufacture, the government came up with a series of laws and regulations to regulate the whole industry. The idea was how to make the products safe for the ultimate consumer. This set of laws or the guidelines which the government came up with, these are called good manufacturing practices, or in short we call it GMP. Something in detail about what is GMP. GMP stands for Good Manufacturing Practices, but what it actually means. GMP is a part of the quality system which affects the quality of the product in two ways. It affects the quality of the product in two ways. The first way is the way in which it affects is the production, because GMP lays down all the details of production, of every aspect, of every smallest aspect of production. There are details, how it has to be done, and there are standards. The second aspect is the testing. At each stage, at every possible location, the product, whether it is raw material, whether it is in process, whether it is a finished product, how it has to be tested. So these are the two major areas in which GMP lays down its guidelines and legislations. The thought behind GMP is that any product, if it has to be good quality, then each step has to be of good quality. For example, if let us again come to our example of the restaurant. If the meat was not of good quality, you cannot expect the food to be of good quality. If the ingredient or the raw material is not of good quality, you cannot expect that the final product will be of good quality. So, care has to be taken at each stage, whether it is ingredient, whether it is the packing, whether it is a manufacturing process. At each stage, care has to be taken so that quality is built into the system at each stage, so that you can say the final product is of good quality. GMP is based upon 10 major principles. Now these are highly technical principles which talk a lot about technology, how each process has to be done. But as I said, we will not be talking of highly technological processes. What we will do is we will talk of it in a very easy to understand language. The first principle is that everything has to be written. There has to be step-by-step instructions of every process. This is necessary if there is a change in person. Some person who is working on a particular machine today, if he is sick, cannot come today, someone else has to replace him. Or a person goes away, you have to hire a new person. So everything has to be very much detailed. There has to be detailed operating procedures. The second is, it is not only sufficient to have the written procedures. What is more important is, or equally important is, that these procedures have to be followed. You can have the best procedures, but if no one is following them, they are useless. So, the procedures have to be written and they have to be followed. Third is, how do you ensure that the procedures are being followed? You can have very good procedures and everyone can say, yes, we are following them. But how do you ensure that, yes, they are being followed? This is the third principle. Whatever is done has to be documented. A record has to be maintained of what exactly is done so that it can be compared to the written procedures. So we have a procedure, it has to be followed, and how do we ensure that? Everything you do has to be documented for compliance if there is a problem later stage. Next is work validation. Work validation means that any system should do the work for which it is designed, or any machine should do the work for which it is designed, and not for any other work. As an example, I have a mic. This is designed to amplify my voice so that you all can hear it. I cannot use it as a hammer, or I cannot use it for any other purpose, because it is designed for a particular purpose and it is validated for that purpose only. So in manufacturing processes, everything has to be validated. Next is the design of each facility, the design of the factory, the design of the machinery, the design of building, everything has to be as per detailed technical standards. The equipment, everything. This includes the rooms, the factory, even the clothes the people wear, everything. Next is about the maintenance of the facilities. There are detailed guidelines how the factory has to be maintained, how the machines have to be maintained, when the maintenance has to be carried out every week, every day, so that there are no breakdowns. So this is the sixth principle. The next principle is design, develop, and demonstrate job competence. This means that for each job, the owner has to determine what is the competency level needed, what is the qualification for this job. If it is a job of a worker on a particular machine, what should be the qualification, what should be the experience, and so on. So there has to be details of the qualification of each person who does any process. Next principle is, at all stages, the contamination has to be prevented. Contamination is mixing of the product with some other impurities or some other, let us say, bacteria which can cause problems. So contamination has to be prevented at each stage. Next is, as we have already discussed, there are detailed guidelines that how quality has to be built into each process, which means we are talking of the ingredients, we are talking of manufacturing process, we are talking of packaging. You can have a very good product, but if you pack it in a container which was not cleaned properly using proper technology, that means there is a lot of bacteria in the container. And these bacteria will immediately affect the capsules which are put into the container. And immediately the product will start losing its quality, the contamination will increase. Next is, and the last is, conduct periodic audits. These audits are conducted by the government agencies. The government agencies which give the GMP certificates, they send a team every 2 years, a team of maybe 10 people, 15 people who come and look at each process, each machinery, each function in detail. And at the end of this audit, they produce a huge report on what are the problems, and these have to be rectified. And in this, it is also necessary to have internal audit also when the people of the factory, they do their own audit to see if everything is proper. So as we said, there are exhaustive details, there are very detailed processes how this is to be done. But for now, let us just understand that these are the basic principles on which GMP is based. Next is who lays down this principle. We talk of these principles. The guidelines are laid down by two international agencies. The first agency is the ICH, and the second agency is the WHO. These do not make the detailed laws, they just lay down the guidelines. Once the guidelines are laid down, then the agency responsible in each country will make the detailed laws and regulations. The law and regulation is in the hand of the country, individual country, while the international organizations only lay down the guidelines. After this brief theory of GMP, let us come to the comparison of the two systems which we know as the European GMP and the US FDA. The US FDA stands for the United States Food and Drug Authority. They have a system of GMP of their own. Why this is necessary is that in some of our markets, for example in Turkey, in Vietnam and so on, there are a lot of American companies which are quite active. And the distributors of the American companies many times claim that we have American GMP or FDA GMP and our product is much better. So I have heard complaints from my distributors in Vietnam who say, oh, can we get US FDA GMP? Why do you need that? Because US FDA GMP is much better. So this is something which I would like to explain to you today. How do we compare this? Is the FDA GMP actually better? And how does it compare to the European GMP which we are talking of? I will start with a small example. Let us imagine that you need some wire, the electricity wire. You need some wire in your home to maybe hang a bulb or fan or something. It is very easy. You go to a shop, you buy the wire. You don't think much. The wire cost is maybe 50 cents a meter or €1 a meter maximum. This is one level. Now imagine that you have to use the wire in an aeroplane. You have to use the wire in an aeroplane for the air conditioning or for the bulb electricity or for light or whatever. Now if you have to use this wire, electric wire, in aeroplane, then you cannot go to any shop and buy any wire. Then it has to be a much higher quality, much higher standard, produced in a special plant, which is specialized in producing wires and accessories for aeroplanes. This is a different level. This is a much higher level than the ordinary wire which you use in your house or your office. And let us in the last case imagine that you want to buy a wire which is to be used in the space shuttle or in the International Space Station. In this case, the requirements are even more higher. You cannot use the same wire of aeroplane or what you use in house. It has to be specially manufactured, it has to be topmost quality, it has to be special order and so on. So what I'm trying to say is that the same product can have various levels of quality. We define 3 levels here. One is the wire you use at home or office. Next is the one if you want to use it for an aeroplane, which is higher quality, more expensive. And third, if you want to use it for the spaceship, for example, which is higher quality, more expensive, and so on. In the same way, as we have in this example, everything what we eat is divided into 3 parts in the government regulations. These 3 parts are food, food supplements, and drugs or pharmaceuticals. And there are increasing levels of quality standards for each of these 3 classifications. If you see, I have put food is in white color. Here it is white and red, and here it is red. That means the quality level required for food production is much basic. It becomes more complicated with food supplements, and it becomes very complicated for the drugs. Now, how do we compare it for the EU and for America? You can see the 2 flags. Now here is a comparison. We are not talking of food, so I will not go into the details. Each country, whether it is EU or the American system, they have their own laws which regulate the food industry. We will not talk of that in detail. We talk of the food supplements. For food supplements, the requirement in EU for food supplements is ISO 22000. That means the ISO 22000 lays down all the requirements for the manufacture of food supplements in EU. For food supplements in America, there is a GMP for food supplements. Now this GMP for food supplement is not the same as the GMP for pharmaceuticals. It is different. It is a lower level. And it is something new which Americans are only recently implementing. And then the third level is the drugs. We again have two levels. There is a EU GMP for pharmaceuticals and there is a US FDA GMP for pharmaceuticals in America as well. So as we have discussed earlier, the quality standard increases as you go from left to the right. That means these food laws are more basic. These are at a higher level and this is the topmost level. That means if you want to produce drugs or pharmaceuticals in America or in Europe, the facility has to be absolutely the top level. The one which we are talking of, for example, the wire for a spaceship. So technically, we, Vision, as manufacturer of food supplements in Europe, we should be here, correct? Vision should have ISO 22000 qualifications, quality standards, because Vision manufactures food supplements in Europe. Now let us see what we have. What we have is, for dietary supplements, the Vision factory, Arcopharma, is the first factory in Europe to get the ISO 22000 certification. It was the first factory to get the ISO 22000 certification, and this ISO 22000 is directly linked to and comparable to the USA food supplement GMP. Not only this, what is more important is, the next slide. Our products are manufactured in a facility or in a factory which has the pharma GMP as well. You see, in this slide, we have a EU pharma GMP, which is given by the French authority, the French government authority, which gives this. That means, if we go back to the last slide, that means not only Vision fulfills these requirements, which are laid down by law. We are the first company to have the ISO 22000 facility. We also fulfill this requirement. Our products are manufactured in this facility. That means, comparing to our example, we are producing the electric wire in the same factory which produces the electric wires for the spaceships. That means we are manufacturing food supplements in a factory which is certified for production of drugs and pharmaceuticals. So as mentioned, the Vision products, the food supplements, are manufactured in a pharma GMP, which is in the EU. How does this compare to the GMP of America, which is given by the American agency, which is called FDA? Now here is a very brief comparison. More or less, both the GMP standards are similar, but when it comes to the European GMP, there are some special additional chapters which are absent in the American GMP. For example, Chapter 7, Chapter 8, and Chapter 9, which deal with contract manufacture, complaint procedure, and internal audit procedure. These are three important chapters which are present in the European GMP, but they are absent in the American GMP guidelines. This means you can say that to some extent, the European GMP is a better version of GMP than the GMP given by the FDA of America. Not only this, in addition, if you look at the last line, the European GMP has additional 18 appendices. 18 additional appendices in the European GMP, which are not present in the American GMP. So, to make a summary of whatever we discussed till now as regards to GMP, Vision products, number one, are manufactured in a GMP facility. which is certified not only for food supplements, but for pharma products also. And this certification is given by the European Authority, and as we have seen, the European GMP is in some sense better than the American GMP because it has additional guidelines and additional controls. Here is the GMP certificate. We have two certificates. One is given by the French authority, AF-SAPS. Second is given by the Irish Medical Board. All these certificates are available on the website. These are recent certificates which are renewed every 2 years. Another small term which I would like to discuss is a CGMP. Now what is CGMP? The knowledge and understanding of products, of ingredients, of processes keeps on changing. Whatever we know today, maybe tomorrow it might not be true because we might have some new understanding. For example, if you look at the packing of cosmetics now, in the last few years you must have seen that now it is written not only the expiry date, but it is written that after you open the container, you have to use the cosmetic in how many months, maybe 6 months or 8 months after the container is opened. Now this is a recent GMP requirement. If you look at 5 years ago, only you mentioned the date of expiry, that was enough. And if you look at maybe 30 years ago, even the date of expiry was not necessary. So that means the knowledge keeps on increasing and changing day by day. If I have a factory and I had a GMP, let us say, in 1970, and after that it was not renewed, I cannot claim that I have a GMP today. CGMP means, C means current, current means existing. That means my GMP certificate is existing. It is not something which was 5 years old and I am still claiming that. Because the regulations, understanding, processes keep on changing every year, every month. So that is why the government says that every 2 years the GMP certificate has to be renewed. And our certificate is renewed every 2 years when, as I mentioned, there is an audit team from the government which comes to the factory for 2 weeks, 20 people, 15 people, and look at everything in detail. So this is the CGMP. We come to a major part now. After all this theoretical understanding, now we see how GMP is built into our product. Look at the scale of all of this, what I'm trying to say. The factory deals in more than 600 types of plants, which are bought from all over the world. Every year, the factory buys more than 700 tons of products, of raw material. And this raw material is of all types. Some it is flower, it is root, it is a fruit, it is a seed, you have leaves, everything, which comes from all parts of the world. Here is roughly a map from where we get, for example, about 25% of our raw material comes from Asia, about 15% from South America, about 20% from Africa, and so on. So when we are talking of 700 tons of raw material per year, when we are talking of 600 types of products to be, raw material to be purchased, how do you ensure that each of this raw material or ingredient, when it reaches the factory, it is up to the quality? To do this, we have 55 people employed only in the quality control lab who will test each and every sample of the incoming raw material and clear it for quality. If a batch of a raw material is not up to the quality standard required by GMP, then it is rejected. In addition, we have 19 people who sample between the stages during the production process. At each stage, there are people working. So this is how it is ensured that all the ingredients which are coming from all over the world, they are up to the required quality level. They do not have any microbiological problems and contamination. Here is a very brief of the production process. The plants are received, all the ingredients are received at the plant. There is a quality check. Then the production process started by cryo grinding. We will talk of cryo grinding. After cryo grinding, it is in the form of a mixture. After the mixture is again quality certified. If it is approved, it goes to the next stage, when it is produced as capsules. After the capsules are produced, there is again a quality check. Then it is packed in the bottles. There is again a quality check. And then it is shipped. So this is how the whole process happens. Let us look at a very brief, small production video so that you are aware of this process. Can you please start video 1? Now this is a process where powder is being filled in the capsules. You can see in the start are the empty capsules. This machine is opening the capsules. And here is the filling process. This is the capsule filling. The capsules are being filled. This is the testing. Here is the testing of the capsules, which means any capsules which is less in weight or more in weight or more larger diameter, it is rejected. And then this is additional checking for weight and for dimensions. You see, it is being checked for dimensions. If the length of the capsule is perfect, it is calibrated. This is done manually, this is done by machine as well. Then there is a weight. So we take a batch of 10 and then we check the weight to see if the weight is proper. And then a record is kept, as I mentioned, as per the GMP, a record is kept of each stage, whatever work was done, whatever was the result. And now we are talking of filling the capsules into the bottles. You see, they are being filled in empty bottles. There is weighing of each bottle, and after that, the cap is being put on each bottle. So this, in very brief, is the production process. The bottles are ready, and now they will go to the next stage. Right. So this is the process in very brief. Now we come to another very important exclusive process for vision, which is called cryo grinding. It is also called freeze grinding. We get ingredients from all over the world, and then a mixture is created by pressing these, by mixing all of these ingredients. The powder is created. Now this is a very high-tech process which happens at a temperature of minus 196 degrees centigrade in the presence of nitrogen gas. Why minus 196? Because if the mixing is done at room temperature, then a lot of heat is generated, and this heat will destroy the active ingredient of the plant. Once the active ingredient of plant is destroyed, it is not going to do any good to you. You might eat it, you might consume it, but it is like a dead ingredient. So as a result, we determined that if the temperature is reduced to minus 196, then the active ingredient of the plant is not lost. This is something important, very important, because this technology is exclusive to Vision. Only Vision uses this technology for manufacture of food supplements. No one else uses it. So this is again an important tool which you can use in your contact with the network. Now here is very brief of how the process happens. Sorry. The ingredients come from the top. This is a chamber, closed chamber, and liquid nitrogen at minus 196 goes in here, and then it is mixed and it comes out at the temperature of minus 196, and size is about 125 microns. Here is a very brief process. This is the chamber where it happens. The temperature here is minus 196. It is a very small video because it's not possible to make a larger video because the temperature of the room is very, very low. So this is very briefly the production process which ensures that all the products have the high quality. Now, only manufacture by high quality is not enough, because you can have products at the best quality, but then they have to be followed up. A factory can make very good quality products, but then the distribution to the end consumer has also to be high quality. That means Vision uses good distribution practices as well, which means that once the products are manufactured, the distribution also happens as per the regulations laid down by the government for GDP. Everything is transported in refrigerated containers, the temperature is controlled, there are special warehouses in which it is stored, and so on. The last part of the presentation concerns with how the quality has to be maintained throughout the system. It has to be everywhere. It is not only the product which we are talking of. It is the ingredient, it is the process, it is the packing, it is the label, it is the whole philosophy of the company, which includes the mission statement, the philosophy, the marketing brochures. The quality has to be shown and advertised everywhere. Look at something like, for example, we talk here of the logo. Now, a logo of a company is something which is small and immaterial, but how it can be used as a tool for quality, let us look at it. Let us look very briefly at a small logo, Amazon.com. It shows here a smile. I don't know how many of you noticed that. And then it is also an arrow which connects A to Z. So there is an arrow connecting from A to Z in the form of a smile. And this is the philosophy of Amazon, delivering everything from A to Z with a smile. It delivers everything from A to Z with a smile. This is the philosophy. So look how intelligently the logo is done. Look at the logo of VIO. VIO stands for Video Audio Integrated Operation. Because when VIO was created by Sony, they were trying to integrate video, audio capabilities as well as analog and digital capabilities. So what it means here is, if you look at the first part, V and A is in the form of a wave, which is an analog wave. And if you look at the second part, this is 1 and 0. 1 and 0 is the digital part. 1, 0 is the digital part. So this is an integration of analog and digital, audio and video. Again, a very intelligent logo. Another very intelligent logo is Unilever. Produces hundreds of products. The logo is in the form of a U. If you look, it is a U. But if you look at it in detail, each element means something. This one is a sun. This one is a bird. This one is a hair, a sauce. It stands for each business division that Unilever works in. Last part, we come to the Vision logo. A small analysis of the Vision logo. I don't know how many of you have paid attention to that. The Vision logo is in two parts. One is a triangle, one is the Vision International People Group. If you look at the triangle, play with your imagination. You can see it is in the form of an arrow which is moving forward. It shows like an arrow moving forward. At the same time, you can see it is in the form of a network, of a triangle, a pyramid, a network. So this could be your network. Also, it has 7 dots. If you count the dots, there are 7, 6, 5, and total is 28. 7 is the number of days in a week. 28, you can say maybe it is the lunar month, maybe 4 weeks. So then if you look from another example, in perspective, you can see these are your distributors. This is your network, each person. And here is a person maybe who is far away, who is not in your network. What is the mission? What we want to do? We have to bring this person into our network. The person who does not understand vision philosophy, the person who does not understand the philosophy of good health, we have to bring him into the network. The second part of the logo, when we talk of vision, if you pay attention to the middle S, it is slightly different. You see, it is slightly different. If you look at it in some more detail, this is like a leaf. This part is like the two ends of a leaf, which is supported by a hand. What I'm trying to say is, imagine something, imagine this part, imagine this central part to be a leaf, and above and below there is a hand. It is a leaf with a hand on top and a hand at bottom, which means a hand being supported by, a leaf being supported by hand, which is nature. So if you look at the whole logo in totality, what we are talking of, what is the philosophy? It is very clear. It is the philosophy of vision. Supporting the health in a natural way, using your network, which is dynamic, which is moving forward, so that you can bring the message of health to the last person who is not in your network. That is the philosophy of vision. The name vision itself conveys this philosophy. I don't know how many of you have ever thought of the vision logo in this way, but this is again a tool which you can convey to your network. We come to the last slide. This is the most important slide in the presentation, because as I said, these are some questions which you should ask each new company which says our products are better, their products are better than our products. Ask your network to go give them these questions. Are your products certified? Vision products are GMP certified. If someone comes and says, oh yes, I have very good products, are your products certified? Our products are GMP certified. Then, next is, what is the certification? As we have discussed, vision products are certified not only for food, that is ISO 22000 standard, but our products are certified for pharma GMP. So you have to ask, are your products certified? If they are certified, what is the level of certification? This is question number 2. Give them the third question. What certification you have? Even if it is GMP, we have 2 GMP certifications. One is France, one is Ireland. So we have 2 GMP certifications. Do you have 2 GMP certifications? Give them the next question. The next question is, when did you get your ISO certification? Our lab, Arco Pharma, was the first in whole of Europe to get ISO 22000 certification. Next is, how are the products produced? All our products are produced using the exclusive technology of cryo-grinding, which Vision's products are manufactured, Arco Pharma is the only company producing food supplements using the cryo-grinding technology. So another question, do you use cryo-grinding technology for the manufacture of food supplements? Answer in all cases would be no. Next question, is your distribution by GDP process? That is, you can produce very good products, but by the time it reaches the end customer, maybe everything is lost, the goodness is lost. So how is your distribution? And last, do you cooperate with some international organizations? Vision cooperates with WHO, which is the World Health Organization. How many companies today can say that yes, they cooperate with as big and as internationally known organizations as the WHO? These are the 7 questions, or these are the USPs, the unique selling propositions, which everyone should know, convey it further, so that each of your distributor can convey it further down. These are something which you should take home, propagate, so that everyone can ask with pride. So as I mentioned, this was the last slide. Thank you for your time. I hope I have been able to convey. Have a good day. Thank you.